and welcome to episode 5 of the Lonely Knitter podcast. My name is Laura and welcome to my little corner of the internet where I come to chat about my knitting and general crafty life. If you haven't popped up here before, hi, welcome, come on in. I mainly talk about knitting, sometimes a bit of life stuff, and my job, which is as a yarn dyer and a UK yarn show director. I am coming to you from, can you tell my brain's all of a frazzle today? I'm coming to you from Lowestoft in Suffolk. It's the most easterly point of England in the UK. And if you've been here before, you know all that already. And hiya, thanks for coming back. I have a little bit of an update. I can't believe that I am back less than 2 weeks after recording my last episode, because we all know that I will leave it months, but I am having loads of enthusiasm for podcasting at the moment and I wanted to jump back on and keep it going. So yeah, if this is your first time here, hi. We're 5 episodes in since I had a little bit of a refresh and decided to start from the beginning with my podcast. A lot of things have changed for me over the last few years. However, there is a whole bunch of previous back episodes from before I decided to have that little refresh. Quick housekeeping note right at the very beginning. I'm doing my absolute level best to look at the little dot and not look at my face. Because I know that a lot of people watching find it really annoying because it looks like when I'm looking at myself on the screen, it looks like I'm looking over your shoulder, which is creepy. So I am doing my best. Lots of people have mentioned it in the past and I have always tried and failed. I'm trying again. If you are looking to find me throughout the interwebs, you can find me on Instagram. That's where I'm most active as The Lonely Knitter. I also run the East Anglia Yarn Festival account, which is an annual show in Norwich, in Norfolk. And I have a Discord group. The link will be below. I am constantly, always planning to get more active in that group, and I want to be more active in that group. So bear with me. But the link is below if you would like to join, and there is lots of absolutely lovely people in there who are all craft lovers, knitting lovers especially, and are always a source of fun. I'm in a lot of Discord groups now, which I think is why I'm feeling a little bit swamped with it. But Instagram is the best place to find me. The details of my website are below in the below box if you would like to look over there. Anything that you need to find about me, it's down there. So I'm going to jump straight in to finished objects because I haven't got a lot of time. It's my children's sports, or one of my child's sports day this afternoon, and I need to get a wriggle on, otherwise I am going to miss it. I'm not going to miss it. I will stop recording, but otherwise I won't be able to finish this podcast before I go. So finished objects. I'm going to show you something that I actually didn't have last time, even cast on. This is a Kindle case. I have a Kindle. It already has a case, but this is I wanted a pocket for it that was a bit more padded. I drop things a lot. I have dropped this a lot in the case, and yeah, so a padded case was something that I had been thinking about doing for a long time. And this is in, there's a tiny bit left, yarn from the Woolshed. So I'm going to talk about the Woolshed yarn in a little while in Stash Enhancement, and talk about it in more detail at the end. But this is all I have left, and it is a chunky singles yarn, and it is beautiful, and the colourway is Spirit. And I made the pattern up. It's not really a pattern at all, but basically I did a crochet chain. I can't remember what size hook I worked with. Oh, it's over here. So I am not an expert. Like, I've done a lot of crochet, but it's all been very basic, and I need a very clear, well-written pattern, and I use a million tutorials to remember what the stitches are. Crochet doesn't come naturally to me. I learnt to knit first, and then I learnt to crochet after, and yeah, crochet, I love it, but I struggle with it. And I think that I think a lot of people feel like that whichever one they pick up first, either crochet or knitting, is the one that they then gravitate towards, and the other one they might learn but is always less natural. So this is a 6mm hook, chunky singles, and I just chained enough that it went around my Kindle with not a lot of ease, a tiny bit of negative ease, but not a lot, and then single crocheted into that, around and around and around and around, until it was big enough for my Kindle to sit in it. And then I just single crocheted across. I flattened it because it was a tube. I flattened it and single crocheted through the bottom to hold it together. So it's very basic, no pattern, and I love what the yarn's done with this flashing. I think that's absolutely beautiful. I love the flashing. So yeah, I have a finished object that I hadn't even started, but it was an incredibly quick make, and I really wanted to use this yarn. I really wanted to knit or crochet, work with some of this yarn. So I'm going to talk about the yarn in the end because I have a whole bunch of stash enhancement. So my next finished object, because I do have two, if you have watched last week's episode, every now and then I was planning to do it every week, but this week you'll find that I am not. Every now and then I pull out a project bag because I have a ridiculous amount of whips in the garage room, in my work room. I just realised that I didn't say that I live here with my husband and 2 small children, dog and cat. I just forgot my family this morning. I'm all out of sorts. It's been a really flustered, really random morning, and it's not been in routine at all, and this afternoon isn't going to be in routine either, and I think it's just made my brain go. So apologies if you have watched before and I'm watching now and thinking, what's wrong with her? Yeah, I'm just a bit all of a fluster. So train of thought, every episode my plan was to pull out a whip. Now I have more than 50. It was 50 a couple of years ago. It's probably coming up to the 75 mark. Ridiculous amount of whips in this house, and each episode I want to pull out a whip and either rip it out and frog it or finish it, and that way hopefully first of all reclaim some of my project bags because they're all in project bags, but secondly to just have a little bit less clutter around my life, unfinished things. I'm not doing that this week, and I will explain why in a minute, but I do have a finished object, and there is 2 of them, but I seem to have misplaced my other sock blocker. I have about 6 sock blockers in this house and I can only find 1, but there are 2 and they are both finished, and this is Giddy Yarn's self striping, and it was living in a Christmas bag from the little grey girl. It's a pyramid bag and I love these bags, and yeah, they are now finished. This is not my favourite heel, but I'd already done the first one with this heel, so I felt like I had to, I obviously had to match them. And I know why I've done a short row heel. It's because I didn't want to mess the stripes up, but it doesn't fit my feet as well as a heel flap and gusset. So this is my vanilla sock pattern that's in my head, which is literally just 64 stitches and a 2x2 rib. I usually go for sort of 20-ish rounds, and then I knit usually 40 rounds on a leg. Then I do my heel, which is usually a heel flap and gusset, but on this one is not. And then after a heel flap and gusset, I usually have 50 rounds, but I just matched. This one fit my foot, so I obviously worked out how many rounds I needed when I knit the first sock, because as a frog it or finish it project, it only needed the second foot. So I just copied the same amount of stripes and made them the same length. So it is a 64 stitch vanilla sock with a short row heel, and yeah, I've just made the second foot and toe, and that's it. That's all they needed, and they've been sitting for however long in the garage. No, this one was in my bedroom actually, in my bedroom, completely unfinished because I just abandoned them and forgotten about them. So now I have another pair of socks to go into my box of socks for this year, which I haven't brought in here with me. I should have brought it in here with me and and added them to the box. In fact, I've forgotten something else, so I'm going to do that now. I'm going to get my box of socks. Okay, here we go. Box of socks. This is this year's box. My plan was to just get 12 pairs in here. Work has been crazy this year. Everything's been crazy this year. Family, everything. And I am not anywhere near. I have 2 pairs of socks. This will be my 3rd pair going in. There's a little mini in there. But I do have somewhere a pair of Mickey Mouse socks that just needed a toe. Mickey Mouse inspired socks, one of my colourways from this year's club, which just needed a toe and hasn't got one. So I'm going to find that. I don't know where it's gone. Could be anywhere. I will find it out and I will add the toe onto that, and then that can go in. So that's another frog I'll finish it because it's just been abandoned. But I need to find it at some point. So yeah, I now have 3 pairs, very scruffily, put in here 3 pairs of socks from this year. So I've got Giddy Ann's, the Fibre Fox, and the Little Grey Girl. So I have 3 pairs of socks, and none of them are in my yarn, which I love because my plan for this year is to try and always have a project on the needles in someone else's yarn, which is why I have really enjoyed doing this week, because it's not in my yarn, and I want to use some stash, I want to use other people, I want to use my friends' yarn, as well as having my own. I do have one other finished thing that I can't show you, which was 4 squares. I made a few squares for Liv's blanket, Liv of the Woolshed. I will talk about that when I talk about stash enhancement as well. But yeah, I made 4 squares, but I can't show them to you because I have posted them because I needed to get to their destination. I'm not looking at the dot, I'm looking at my face again. It's going to take a while to break this habit. I've been podcasting, for 5 years? 5 years and staring at my own face. So it's going to take a lot to break this habit. Okay, on to whips. Now, I'm only going to show you 2 whips. I'm going to talk about this bag in stash enhancement because it's new. I'm only going to show you 2 whips because these are all I have now that those 2 other finished objects are done. These are all I've been working on, and I think they're all I'm going to try my absolute best. They're all I'm going to be working on until they're both finished. So I'll always have a pair of vanilla socks on the needle. So if I finish this pair of socks, I will cast another pair straight on. But my other whip is something that has a deadline and really needs to be done, and I don't do well with deadlines, and I need to pull my finger out and get it done. So first thing I'm going to show you is my vanilla socks. You saw these last episode if you watched, and they are my colourway You Saw Me When I Was Invisible. I can't remember where I was on these last episode, if I had a whole sock done at that point or not. I'm going to put it on the blocker anyway. But I am on the 2nd sock now, whether or not I don't think I was last time. I don't think I was. So this has all its ends woven in, and it's been kitchened and everything. So this is my colourway You Saw Me When I Was Invisible, which is a Princess Diaries reference. And it's just my 64 stitch sock, vanilla patterns in my head. I did 21, I think, randomly. I normally do 20, but 21 rounds of knit 2 purl 2 rib, then 40 rounds of leg, my heel, flap and gusset, and then 50 rounds of foot and my toe. So yeah, just plain. They go with me everywhere. I knit on them when I am watching the kids' swimming lessons, when I am just, yeah, out and about, sat doing waiting. It's waiting, isn't it? It's all the little bits of time when there's nothing else, and I just whip my sock out and put a few rounds on. I knit on this while my daughter was at Rainbows, like literally any little thing. So on my 2nd sock, I am finished. I've done the leg, heel, flap and gusset, and I am now working my way down the leg, the foot, but I'm only like 5 rounds into the foot. So I have a foot, which is funnily enough where the other pair of socks that I just finished at the last episode, that's where that was. So yeah, this is where I am on these, and I just need a foot and a toe, and these will be done. They're living in a bag that is stash enhancement, and I will talk about in just a minute. And yeah, that's not available to buy on my website anymore. That was the Saturday night at the movies collaboration with a bunch of other dyers, and I am currently dyeing them this week to go out for their pre-orders. Speaking of, I'll talk about it in life. Actually, I was about to talk about pre-orders, but I will talk about it in life stuff near the end. So my other whip is living in this giant bag, which was a gift from my lovely friend Sharon of the Knitting Project, formerly SCR1TNO. But yeah, Sharon of the Knitting Project sent me this bag as part of our June birthday swap thing that we do with another friend every year. And inside is my Orla cardigan, which I showed you last week, which is a test knit. And this is why I can't be pulling out anything for Frog It or Finish It. I have been absolutely up to my eyeballs with dyeing Ice and Fire pre-orders and kids stuff going on. There's been so much life stuff happening that I haven't had a huge amount of evening knitting time, which means that this is not where it needs to be. It is a test knit that is due in 15 days. So I have 2 weeks and 1 day to finish this. I have finished. God, look at that stripe. Right, I'm going to over dye this cardigan. I have not alternated my skeins, and as you know, if you're using hand dyed yarn, you really need to alternate skeins as you go to ensure that there's no striping when you add a new skein. This colourway on this base, I dyed some of the yarn at a totally different time, and I tried to reuse my water, and it was an experiment because this was my yarn for my project, so I wasn't giving it to anyone else. And I just wanted, once I'd exhausted it, I was trying to just reuse a little bit more water rather than pouring it on my plants, which is fine. I do water my plants with the water that I exhaust dye out of. But I just wanted to try and get one more dye out of it rather than getting fresh water. And it left me with some very different tones. So I will be over dyeing this cardigan with the same recipe just to try and even it out when it's done. It doesn't look that bad in person at all, and I can barely notice the stripe, but every time I put it on camera for a picture or a video, you can really notice that bottom section, and it looks really stripy down there. And so it's only actually on camera and on video that it bugs me, but I'm probably gonna, because of that, I'm probably gonna over dye at the end. So I have 15 days left to finish this. This is the back panel, and the top 2 parts are now on hold. So it's not the front, I'm holding it against my front, but it's not the front, it's the back. Now I am making the 2XL, so it's all over cables and it's oversized. The 2XL is nowhere near the biggest size for this pattern, but the fact that it is an oversized cardigan and all over cables, so lots of concentration, means that I only really work on it when I sit down and focus on it, and I haven't had a lot of time to do that. So the back panel is finished, and I have cast on, and this, if I hadn't said, is in the Red Woman colourway from the Ice and Fire collection. I've cast on for the first front panel, and my plan is I am going to try my absolute best to steam ahead with this, focus on it in the evenings, and I would like to try and finish this front panel today, which might be a bit ambitious, but I'm going to try. So this front panel today, and then I would like the second front panel finished by the weekend, like before the weekend. It's Tuesday now, so I can't see why I can't have that one done by Friday if I work on it every evening. So both front panels done by this weekend, and then it's all putting it together and doing the sleeves next. So everyone knows Sleeve Island. You can get stuck there, but the cables are what is really keeping me going. It's a really interesting pattern, and it's really lovely to knit, and you see that because it's chunky as well, it builds up very quickly. So this is a pattern by Jaime Creates. You can find her on Instagram, but I will put her Instagram handle below, and she's writing a book, and it is a test knit for the book. So I really want it finished, and I need to get it done before the deadline, so that is why I am now taking forward only 2 whips. So hopefully, if I record again in a couple of weeks, I will have a finished pair of socks and a finished cardigan, and I will have cast on something new, and I will be ready to grab a Frog It or Finish It project. So I wasn't going to show you this, but I am going to, because why not? I do have a project planned. So if I finish both of those 2 things, I will treat myself with a cast on. I will treat myself to a cast on. And it's something that I've been thinking about for a really long time, and I hadn't gotten around to it. These are the tonals from my Ice and Fire collection, and these are dyed on tweed. Now, I didn't offer this as an option when I released them, because at that point I just had a lot on my plate and I needed things to be slightly simpler. I didn't want to let anyone down. So these are the 7 tonals. So we've got the Night King, the Red Woman, Lannister Gold, I won't be knitting by the fire. My brain has stopped working. Oh, my dust. I don't plan on knitting by the fire. Why can't I remember anything at the moment? The Lady Lena, Alicent Hightower, and Hold the Door. Now I'm going, for my project, I am going to pull out the Hold the Door mini, and I'm going to get myself some Hold the Door on tweed, a full skein. Well, I might have, I'll go like that. So Hold the Door, and then all of the minis, and I'd like to make myself a litmus cow, and I'm pretty sure that this is not going to be enough because that leaves only 6 minis for the stripes. We'll see how we go. I can always grab myself another set if I need to. But I have wanted a litmus cow for forever and never made one. It's a free pattern by Stranded Dye Works, Jude of Stranded Dye Works, and I've never made one. And I've always said that I wanted to, and I haven't. It's a nice alternative to vanilla socks because it's just knitting round and around and around. But I'll get the interest of adding in the stripes, so hopefully that will actually keep me going. And it's something that I would love to have as a sample to take to shows. So that's my plan. When I was labelling even all of these, I've deliberately left out a set of the tweed minis, not with labels and ball bands on, and popped them into a bag. And that is going to be my treat for focusing, really focusing. We'll see. When have I ever focused on anything? I'm sure it's going to go very wrong. Does anybody else get like that? Anyone else like me with a million whips who just wants to cast on all the things all the time and then ends up like having to give themselves a treat that they can have at the end? So for example, this is all the Ice and Fire collection. Just show you everything. It's all down to the bottom of this shelf. Everything is now labelled and packed into mini packs, and literally everything is labelled. And I'm ready to start packing orders. I told myself that as soon as I had dyed, twisted and labelled everything, I would treat myself by letting me go on my own. This is a solo trip. I'm losing my voice. I still haven't got a new bottle. I really need to get a new bottle because it's really leaky. Taking myself to the cinema because Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is out, which sounds really dorky now that I'm saying it, but my husband doesn't bother about going to the cinema at all. He doesn't like the chairs. He says it always hurts his back, and he just doesn't. He gets annoyed at other people in the room. But I love the cinema, and I take vanilla socks and knit away, which he also is a bit like when I'd sit there next to him knitting in the cinema. So yeah, I sit there on my own knitting away in the piece with no small people, and it's a real treat. So I told myself when I had dyed, twisted and labelled all of this, I was allowed to take myself off to the cinema. Except I've now dyed, twisted and labelled it all, and I'm now telling myself that I can go to see Dial of Destiny once I've packed all the orders. And I'd be going in the evening, not in work time at all. So it wouldn't, like I am working still in the evenings because having outstanding work stresses me out. So I am working all hours under the sun. But I had set myself a rule that I wouldn't be doing that. And I would be getting my evenings back to spend with my family and with my husband and enjoy myself. But it was a lie. It was a lie. I can't cope with having outstanding work and sitting down and doing something fun. It makes me feel bad. So I've now told myself that once all of this is packed, then I can take myself off to the cinema. And then I will be advent dyeing like crazy. And when that is done, hopefully it'll be just in time for the new Haunted Mansion movie that's coming out. And then I'm going to wear my Haunted Mansion dress, which I still have, a Carolina dress room dress. I'm going to wear my Haunted Mansion dress. And I'm going to take myself with my knitting to the cinema on my own again. No doubt. So yeah, those are my two little, they're like my marker points. these cinema viewings are my marker points for treats that I can have once I've got through certain things. Anyway, I'm just jabbering on. I'm so sorry. This must be so boring. My voice is disappearing and it's really bugging me. Okay, so that's all my whips. That's my future project. Now I'm on to stash enhancement. Okay, the first thing I'm going to talk about is yarn. Now, I am waiting on a few things that I have paid for, but all that has arrived yarn-wise is wool shed yarn. So, I did talk about this last week, but the lovely Liv of the Wool Shed, a yarn dyer in the UK, has passed away, as many of us know, and you can head over to her account on Instagram, the Wool Shed account, and her family are collecting squares, which is the 4 squares that I've sent away, to make a blanket to send with her on her final journey. Liv, Frank, can we not? Come over here. Come here. Liv was very young and life was very unfair and it's very sad, and we are all very sad. It has really rocked our community overall. I think everyone's been very touched by what's happened, and yeah. So a group of us who knew Liv all wanted to get our hands on some wool shed yarn, and it's all come pouring in. So this is the yarn that I have made my Kindle case out of, and it is the Spirit colourway of Liv's. And yeah, so basically some of our friends have all banded together to try and get us some of Liv's yarn if we didn't have a lot in stash, and a lot of us didn't have wool shed yarn in stash and wanted some. So yeah, big thanks to my lovely friends, you know who you are, who have made a real effort to get me some wool shed yarn, but also get us all some wool shed yarn. So as a lot of us have now got wool shed yarn in our stash that we didn't have before because of these absolutely lovely friends. So this is the Spirit yarn, and then a few more skeins have come into my life. Now, one of my friends had the opportunity to go and buy some from a shop that had wholesaled Liv's yarn, and she asked me what I wanted. She was going to get some for herself, and so was some of my other friends, and they'd hunted it down, and she asked me what I wanted, and I said, I'm getting a little bit short of, I'm shaking the table, sorry, I'm getting a little bit short of single skeins of yarn for pairs of socks, because I've gone through a couple of years of not buying single skeins of sock yarn, and or not buying as many single skeins of sock yarn, and buying sweater quantities or DK skeins to make other things with, because I had a lot of single skeins. Well, now those single skeins are starting to dry up. And I want to, over the next couple of years, really add to my stash. I love single skeins of sock yarn. I want to make all the socks. I just don't have the time to make all the socks. But the way I see it is, these are things, that yarn isn't going to go old and go bad. I'm keeping it in a nice place, and you know, that's my retirement fund. That's my, when the kids have cost me loads of money because it's time to buy all the next load of school uniform, I can't afford to buy any, but I can go and shop my stash and I'll have yarn for a pair of socks. So my lovely friend chose me 4 skeins of sock yarn, and they are Spirit, which is the same colourway as the chunky, and this is all 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 4-ply sock, 425 meters to 100 grams. So just a standard sock yarn, and this is the Spirit colourway, so the one that I had on the chunky but now on the sock as well, which is lovely because it is a beautiful colourway and I'm very happy to have it on sock. Carnival, all the brights. I'm really feeling bright yarn at the moment. And Amour. Oh, look at that. And finally, Autumn Sea. So, ta-da! All the wool shed yarn. All the wool shed yarn has come to live in my house, and yeah, I'm really happy. I'm probably not going to cut. Well, when they came, I was desperate to cast them on straight away. And then I was like, calm down, you've got lots of whips. This can be a treat for a bad day, a treat for you finished things day, or, you know, when I need a little cheer up, I can grab one of these beautiful, really cheery skeins of yarn to work with. And they're lovely. So thank you so much to all of my friends who have worked really hard to get us and me some wool shed yarn in my stash, because I am really, really happy to have it with me. And that's all the yarn that's come in, I think. But there is something else, and that is bags. I know I'd said about it when I was talking through whips. Now I'm going to show you. So there is a bag maker, relatively, I've got a little bit lower down, I've sat back in my chair, relatively local to me, called Josie Rose. And I found this bag maker when I was setting up the first year of East Anglia Yarn Festival, and it was one of my applicants, and I was like, oh, it's a local bag maker, exciting. And over the last few years, her bags have really evolved and really changed. And I have been saying to so many people for a very long time, I want a vinyl fronted bag. I love the peekaboo style bags, and especially Mina of the Knitting Expat always used to have this rainbow stripy bag with a vinyl front, and it was, I still love that bag, absolutely love that bag. But it's expensive, which is fair because it is worth the time. It is a handmade item, but I would also be importing it from America. I always get hit with custom charges, and that can add quite a lot extra on, and it's just never been something that I could treat myself to. I've never been, when I've been looking at it, I've never been at a point where I could treat myself. I don't know if the person that made hers is even in business anymore or even has them anymore, but I remember previously looking at them from this seller in America, and every time I looked, I just didn't have the money to be able to buy one at that point. And I'd mentioned to a lot of people and a lot of bag makers that I would love a vinyl fronted bag maker in the UK. I would love one. I would love one. Just someone making vinyl front bags. Well, Josie Rose has started making bags with hand dyed fabric. So she dyes her own fabric and then makes the bags out of them. And this recent range, she has made vinyl fronted bags out of. And I've been commenting on them on her Instagram, because she doesn't, I don't believe she has a website at the moment. I think she sold on Etsy, but I think that might be shut down at the moment, and I might be wrong, but I will come back to you with any information when I have some. But I have been commenting on her pictures on Instagram, and she is coming to Stitches on the Sand in August, which is the mini little sister event that I run in the summer here in my hometown. And she's going to be bringing these bags with her. Anyway, I messaged her and said, is there any way I can buy a bag before Stitches on the Sand? I want one really badly. I have wanted a vinyl fronted bag for years, and I've never had one, and can I buy one off you and get it before Stitches? And she said, I was actually going to message you. Would you just like to have one, please? I'm going to send you one. Like, it's yours, give me your address. And I was like, oh my gosh, you don't have to. She was like, I want to. And can I send it to you? So she did. And I am over the moon. I'm over the moon. I can't believe this, because I thought that she was sending me a vinyl fronted bag. What she actually sent me was a whole set with goodies, and I am just so I had a little bit of an emotional moment. She sent me a really lovely note as well, and yeah, I have had a few gifts from vendors over the years, and they are some of my most treasured things, because the conversations I've had with these people, you know, in her message, which I'm obviously not going to read her note out, but she, you know, she felt from me that I'd supported her. But my opinion for all my vendors is that they've supported me. They've come along and been a part of EAYF, and, you know, been a part of helping me to feel part of the community, and just in general have made my dreams come true. So when stuff like this happens and they choose to give me something, they never ever have to do that. No one should ever feel obligated to do that, but it just completely touches my heart, and you know, those things become some of my special, like, most special things. I've got mugs from my favorite mug maker, who is at all the yarn shows. All of my mugs, I'm replacing my mugs with handmade mugs, and the ones that she has given me have become some of my most treasured things. Like, I won't let my children use them or touch them. I'm like, they're mine. But yeah, these businesses are all people. They're all small businesses, all people behind them who mean a lot to me. So this was really unexpected. But inside was this little drawstring bag, and I'm not going to crumple it up because it's so neat and nice, and it is this beautiful hand-dyed fabric, but look at that, like the rusts and browns in with the in the purples, and I love purple, and this is just the most perfect colour. So there was this little drawstring bag, and then this is the bag that I thought I was getting. Yes, this is the one that she'd shown on her Instagram, which is a zip bag, which is now housing the tweed minis. And so this is the one that I thought she was sending, but then she sent this and 2 others, so the drawstring one and another one, which I'll show you in a minute. So it is a vinyl fronted bag, and she has put on these flowers as well, and I love it with the flowers, but I will say I would be just as happy with a clear front bag, like just as happy. But yeah, this one has these lovely flowers all over, and you can, which I love the vinyl fronted on a hand dyed bag because they're all lined and with more of the hand dyed fabric. So therefore, with the vinyl front, you can see the beautiful, beautiful fabric on the inside as well. Look at the back of this. Oh, is that not the most beautiful thing? So she has included, so there's her label, Josie Rose, but she has included on the side, so it has a little tab with a little D-ring, and then she's put 2 of these key rings on. One is a key ring and it says knit shit. Sorry if you've got little ears, knit shit. And then the second one is this handle, and I don't know if you can see on here, but her zip is the one that goes transitional, like a colour fade, but then so is the stitching. Yeah, you can see it there. So the stitching is all a colour changing thread, and it's the same throughout. Just, it's such good quality, so beautiful, and it has a boxed off bottom, so it stands up. So that's the bag that I thought I was getting, but then in the package there was, you know, obviously the keyring that's attached onto there, and then there was this bag, and then there was also this one. Now, I'd told her that when I was commenting on this one that I would put my socks in it, and she'd said, oh, it's a bit bigger than a sock bag, though I would put socks on in this because I also stick all my random junk in my project bag as well, so I would happily have socks in a big bag. But she also sent me a smaller size that she'd made that's perfect for socks, and this one is poppers on the top. Now, I thought I would prefer a zipper. I don't. I like them both equally, but for a sock bag, I'm really enjoying the poppers. I think they're brilliant, the little snaps. So this is the same with the flowers, so it's a matching set, but if you see, the flowers are a little bit smaller on this one. And I love that you can see your project, but again, that you can see the printed fabric behind, the dyed fabric behind, and this is the back of this one. So this one has come everywhere with me since they turned up, and this one she's put on the D-ring. We've got a key ring, like attachment, you know what I mean, like a claw attachment, lobster claw, and then there's a couple of little stitch markers on there, but this is my favourite thing. So the wrist strap on this is stretchy. I love it. I love it so much. I love it so much. So it doesn't feel like it's going to slip off my hand at all because of this, because it's elasticated and it's small enough. So it's not going anywhere, and then it easily stretches to take it on and off. So this is my new favourite thing. So yeah, this is the bag that's going everywhere with me for this vanilla socks, and then my litmus cowl will go in here, and I reckon I'll put another pair of vanilla socks straight into here because I love them. I love them. And this, I thought, when I have my litmus cowl going in here, I will put all of the minis, especially when they get balled up, into this bag and keep it inside here, because that way, when my knitting is in there with the needles, it won't get tangled up and make the little balls of yarn all tatty. So yeah, it's all going to live in here, and I am absolutely in love. So yeah, if you're watching, thank you so much. And if you have not heard of Josie Rose, she is a Norwich based bag maker who comes to my events with her beautiful hand dyed fabric bags, something really unique and original. Anyway, so yeah, I'm over the moon, and the snaps are even purple, so they match. Oh, I'm over the moon. I absolutely love them, and I think, to be honest, at Stitches on the Sand I'll probably end up buying more just because I want more. Hey, that was something I was going to talk to you about. Is that the end of Stash Enhancement? Yes, it is. I don't have anything else for Stash Enhancement. So, prizes. Now, I redrew a podcast prize in the last episode, and I still haven't had anyone come up for the other podcast prize, and I'm considering stopping podcast prizes because no one's claiming them. I don't know. So if you know someone who's had a podcast prize and they haven't, you know, rest assured they have not claimed it because no one has claimed their podcast prizes. Please feel free to poke them if you know them. I want to carry on doing prizes, but I think it's going to have to be a different way of announcing them or tagging people, or, you know, just so that they get a call out if it's on Instagram or on Discord. But next week or next fortnight, next episode, I will be doing some podcast prizes for the Discord group. There is a finished objects thread, and there will be, I think, 3 we're going for, because I wanted to do a quarterly sort of giveaway or a semi-regular giveaway for in there, and I'm going to go back from the very start of that finished objects thread and pull out 3 people, and I will feature their winning items on here that are knit in my yarn. So if you have a finished object that's knit in my yarn, or at least 50% in my yarn, and you would like to share it in the Discord group, and you're not in the Discord group, head to below and click on the link and join. And then going forward, I will think of a way to do it where I can pull from Instagram and Discord and, you know, other places. I don't really use Ravelry anymore, but I'll have a think about it. But next episode there will be 3 winners from my Discord finished object thread for items that were made at least 50% in my yarn, and you have until I record that episode to put them in there. So if you have anything that's been finished this year, bung it into there, and I'll be pulling out of there, and you've got a chance at winning, and I will get some prizes. But on that thread, at Stitches on the Sand, I have been saving up money that has been coming in through my Ko-fi account. So if you would like to donate to my Ko-fi account, the details are below, and I'm using that to get prizes, fund the postage for giveaway prizes, and things like that that come along with the podcast. And I have one lovely person who puts into there every month on like a standing payment that comes through, and other people who have popped small amounts in there, and it really doesn't have to be a lot. You don't have to do it at all, but if you feel like doing it, it means that I can stack that money up and buy prizes. So at Stitches on the Sand, I will be buying prizes, and I'm thinking I'm going to do a sort of bumper prize package, and maybe if I can get one of those vinyl front bags to go in the prize package, and we'll give that away on the podcast. But I need people to claim the podcast prizes. Anyway, life stuff, other things. Okay, if I'm losing you here now, if you're not interested in anything else, I have got some yarn to show, but it's from my hand-dyed yarn company and other things like that. Life has just been a little bit crazy. I said before that I have ADHD. I pick up a lot of things. Every time someone says, do you want to do this? I say yes, and I have no ability to say no, and then I panic afterwards. I'm chair of governors at my children's school. I have hand-dyed yarn company. I have a festival yarn show that I run, and a mini event that goes along with it. There is all the things, and the thing that is coming up at the moment is Stitches on the Sand, which is my summer event. So every August, and I mean, whether or not we do it next year depends on how this year goes. Like every year for the Stitches on the Sand, it's a much smaller event, so it just depends each year on how it goes. I run an event at the Hotel Victoria in Lowestoft on the seafront, and I highly recommend that you bring families. This is a fun, anyone can have a fun time sort of event, because it's on a Sunday. It's the 20th of August, and the idea is that you come, you bring your mates, you bring your families, or you come on your own, because there is loads of us who will be there on our own. And you come up to the marketplace. There's 2 time slot entries for the marketplace because of how small the room is. So there's the morning or the afternoon slot, and you have to pre-book your tickets, which are on sale now. I will put the links below. But you will find 10 yarn show vendors, and there's not as many nowhere near as many people allowed into the room as you can have at the showground for the big event, so it's a much more personal experience. Smaller shopping experience with 10 yarn show vendors. Majority of them are local to this area as well, but you wouldn't see them anywhere usually apart from at the big yarn shows. So this is the chance to do something a little different. The marketplace time slots are only 2 hours long, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. We get a break in the middle where we can come out and have some food with you guys, but the idea is that you go and sit on the beach, pop up, buy some yarn, and then go and craft on the sand. Or if you don't like the sand, we've got the lovely long promenade with loads of benches. There's a park really close by, but the idea is to come, grab something, and then get crafting, get stitching. And yeah, it's just, I'm looking at my own face and say that a lot again. Habit of a lifetime, and I'm not going to be able to break it. It's just a bit of fun, but it's in my hometown. The rail links are excellent to this area. You can get from London to Norwich and then Norwich over to Lowestoft. Yeah, we have a train station, buses, all the things, but there's lots of parking up and down the seafront as well. And it's just a really nice day. The details of all of my vendors are now up on the website, so please do head and have a look at the East Anglia Yarn Festival website and grab yourself a ticket if you'd like one. They are very limited and I can't add more because it is the fire regulations on the building is all I can do. So that's coming up and I'm under a lot of pressure getting everything done for that, as well as sorting out some Ice and Fire. So if you have Ice and Fire pre-orders, which lots of you do, this is all of the pre-order yarn. Oh, this is all of my pre-order yarn, so it's all the mini sets up there plus You Know Nothing Jon Snow, and then this shelf is all the tonals. This shelf is Prince Damon, Rhaenyra, Fire and Blood, and then all of this plus a big chunk of down here is Winter is Coming, Little Dove, Unbent, Unbowed, Unbroken, and then Breaker of Chains and In the Godswood. So all of the yarn is dyed. It is all also now twisted and labelled, and I'm ready. I will be now, after this podcast episode, packing up your Ice and Fire pre-orders. Some of them will be they'll all be going out this week, but some of them are waiting on skeins of Saturday night at the movies so I can combine orders and then get them all out. So this shelf, hopefully next time, will be pretty much empty. I'm toying with doing an in-stock update of any odd spare skeins that I might have, but I don't know if there's much call for that, so I'm gonna wait and see, check it out on Instagram. The only other things that are up on my website at the moment, there's not a lot of in-stock yarn on my website because I'm dealing with all the pre-orders, but there is this colourway, which is a pre-order, but it is my monthly club. So I run a monthly club where I have a different colourway each month, and it's not a mystery, you get to see the colourway, and it's dyed inspired by Mickey Mouse and his friends. So it's the Out of the Clubhouse club, and all of my clubs, they're not anything that you sign up for and then have to do every single month. They are literally like, oh, I want it this month, I'll buy it. Don't want it this month, I won't buy it. It's not a sign up, it's not a subscription. But for this month, I have In the Park After Dark, which is a colourway inspired by a picture of Mickey and Minnie having a picnic after dark in the park. And you can see it over on my Instagram. So if I just grab this one, so this is the colourway and it is blues and greeny teals and pops of pink. This is it on DK. And yeah, I'm really happy with it, but it's also probably going to be one of my next pairs of vanilla socks. And then this is the mini skein that goes with it, which is the pink that's in there. So this yarn is currently up on my website, and yeah, and I love it because I'm conceited like that. No, I wouldn't sell it if I didn't love it. I make things that I find fun, and then if I hated it, I wouldn't sell it. It would go in my bargain bin for its shows. So that is up at the moment, and the other club that is open at the moment is Mini Skein Club, where you get 5 minis for the month, and this month is still open, and it's Lion King inspired. And this year what I'm doing is every other month we change between Marvel and Disney. So like last month was Black Widow, This month is Lion King, and yeah, each month I'll release which movie we're going to be inspired by, and then you get 5 minis inspired by the film. The only other thing that I have dyed this week, I will show you, but it isn't up or available anywhere yet. I'm having lots of fun. When I have an empty pan, I'm just dyeing something that I find fun, and I'm in a really summery vibe, and I've been listening to lots of music, and so this is the first colourway for, I hesitate to say collection because I'm not thinking of it like I'm formulating a collection in my mind. I'm just having fun with making new colourways because I haven't got a lot of brights in my colours and I really want some, and it's a bit too late to be launching a summer collection. I should have had it launching at the start of June and things like that if I'd wanted to do that. It's more having a bit of fun, creating new colours and having them available at some point, most likely for the shows that come up throughout the summer. I might do potentially a small pre-order if people want it, but it would only be small because I have lots of shows to prep for this autumn. This is on the tweed, I love it on the tweed. So this is the first of those, and I might just show them to you as I have more batches of different colours pop up, maybe. I don't know if anyone would be interested. Anyway, life stuff, it's just been busy. I got a new to me car, not a new car because car prices are through the roof. I wouldn't be getting a new car anyway because we can't afford it, but my car had 249,000 miles on it. Bits were falling apart. Things kept not working. It blew up. Well, a pipe blew up and it all started steaming out the front when we were on our way to our holiday last month, month before last. And it had just generally become very unreliable and was now starting to cost me money. So that's gone to my dad and he's fixing it, and then he'll sell it once he's fixed everything that's wrong with it. And I now have a Hyundai, which my mum keeps telling me there was an advert. My mum keeps telling me there was an advert and it's not called Hyundai, it's called Hyundai. And I was like, I don't know. But I'm not going to go around, literally she does it like this, Hyundai. I'm not going to go around doing that. But it's blue and it's another estate, so I can still get to yarn shows, which is great. But it's taking some getting used to. Frank, let's not growl at absolutely imaginary people. Okay? That's my dog. Anyway, yeah, Frank likes to bark at nothing and at everything. Like literally he's just barking all the time at the moment. What's going on, Franco? Come up here. Come here. Now he won't get up. Yeah. There's been swimming lessons, there has been my dad's birthday, we went out on the boat. My grandparents have a boatyard and a boat, and we went out on a boat. And there's just been loads of life stuff. My daughter has a club every day of the week. She has 5 days a week of clubs. This week is our school sports days. My son's is today, my daughter's is tomorrow. We've got the school summer fete on Friday, which I'm helping with. It's all very constant go, and there's only this week and then next week and then it's the summer holidays, and I'll have 2 small people in this house 24/7. So my plan is, so Ellie really wants another go at learning to knit because the last few goes she's got bored and then forgotten what she's doing, so she keeps asking, and I've said during the summer holidays we'll have another look at it. So bear with me, I might have some videos of a 6-year-old learning to knit. But if I want to record a podcast during the... Frank, what are we growling at? There's no one there. If I want to have a podcast recorded during the day... Are you just doing it to annoy me? I think he's actually growling at his own reflection in the kitchen door. Frank, stop it. Right, come here. Look, he is. He's not having any of it. He's fuming. At the door. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. So, if there's going to be a podcast recorded... What are we barking at? We're in our house. There's nobody there. There's nobody there. This is the bit where it gets really creepy and I'm like, oh my God, there's a ghost. There's a ghost. I think it might be growling at us now on the screen. So in the summer holidays, if I want to be able to record a podcast during the daylight, there's going to be children in the house. Why are we growling? There's going to be children in the house, so you might get some appearances. We might have to do some recording with children. Otherwise I'm not going to be free to record, and I'm really enjoying recording at the moment, even though I am just chatting, and it is very self-indulgent. Now you've knocked my water bottle over. What's wrong with you today? So we better go, because this guy's turning into a nuisance. You've been quiet that whole time. And I don't think I have anything else to say, because I'm just whittering on now. But all the details of everything, what are you doing? All the details of everything will be below for all the stuff I've talked about. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. And as always, thank you for making me so much less of a lonely knitter.